What's up, guys? It is Thursday, February 17th, already, 2022 AD, Anno Domini, the year of our Lord, 9:01 a.m., U.S. Pacific Standard Time. I think we have less than a month to go for Standard Time. Seems like we barely switched to Standard Time. We're going to switch back, spring back forward into Daylight Savings Time in like a month. I'm way ahead, right? Anyway, guys, we're going to have a fun Thursday show, I think. By the way, Women's Forum tonight, just a little reminder, always a highlight. The men's forums are, anyway. I go to the men's forums for men only. Women's forums at Bond, third Thursday, 7 p.m. Men's forums first Thursday. But we're going to talk about, these phony politicians pretending like they care about kids. They don't care about kids. And pretending like they're holding the big tech responsible. I don't use the term big tech. I may call them, it's wordier, but it's maybe more accurate. Establishment social media, maybe? Establishment social media, because they're the commie capitalists in bed with the government and in bed with everything evil, pushing evil. What a mess. I'm going to talk about education. They're pretending like they want to educate the kids. Really, they want to push them to be really off the deep end, perverted kids. They want to do it. And meanwhile, they want to clamp down on the free speech. YouTube themselves. What's that woman's name? Susan Wajcicki? Something like that? The CEO of YouTube? A woman. Ugh. Anyway. And, of course, Sleepy Joe wants to get you vaccinated, as many as possible. I have a new Project Veritas video, relatively new anyway. First I've seen it out. And, of course, your phone calls. You can call in. But anyway, guys, let's get right on with the show!
1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, it's the Hake Report. The Hake Report. La, la, la. Oh, it's the Hake Report. The Hake Report. La, la, la.
Hey, guys!
Oh, it's the Hake Report. The Hake Report. La, la, la. Oh, it's the Hake Report. The Hake Report. La, la, la.
So, how you guys doing? I am fine. I am wearing the Red Pill t-shirt. And it is from theredpillmovie.com. I think that's what the website is. Theredpillmovie.com. I watched this movie like 5-6 years ago, whenever it came out. And it was in the theaters. Cassie J documentary. She's this pretty nice feminist, nice pro-abortion feminist. And she had made a couple of pro-feminist, pro-abortion documentaries and things like that. And then she set out to go after the men's rights activists, the MRAs, the people who are for, men's quote-unquote equality, which, honestly, that's a bit of a drawback for me. But they have some legitimate gripes, and she discovered that these people aren't a bunch of woman haters or whatever necessarily. They have legitimate complaints, and so it was a red pill for her. It was like the rabbit hole or whatever. And so she realized that she doesn't know what she is, but she's not a feminist anymore, according to her. So, yeah, I recommend that movie. It includes a couple of people, one young woman who has appeared multiple times on the Jesse Lee Peterson show, and a male who has appeared on the Jesse Lee Peterson show, a male feminist and a woman anti-feminist. Interesting, huh? And, of course, Cassie J was on The Fallen State later about her movie, The Red Pill. Cool. Just a little background on the T-shirt that I'm wearing. That's more explanation than I think I've ever given any T-shirt. It's black, and it says the red pill, and it has a woman falling into a reality check. Anyway, I will get to your calls, and I was chuckling because I was seeing this Black History Month stuff that Chris was showing during the intro music. Shout out to the guy who made my intro music. That's cool. Trevor Wesley. The Hake Report theme song. AJ Gallardo original on Fridays. Listen for that. But I was chuckling because it's promoting this Black History Month stuff. Oh my gosh. Oh, we need to celebrate black immigrants for Black History Month too. So ridiculous. And I do have calls. I've had calls practically every day about Black History Month, and I don't even really harp on it. I do talk about the blacks though. Very entertaining. I didn't grow up with Black History Month. I grew up in the 80s and early to mid 90s and late 90s was when I graduated from high school. And we didn't ever learn that stuff. We had like two blacks. One black and classmate, and then his mother got run over by a train and then never saw him again. Clifton in second grade. And then later, junior high, high school, we had a few. But it was mostly Hispanics, Asians, and whites in my neighborhood. And they didn't care about this stuff. We learned normal history. And some of the stuff that Joe from Phoenix called in and gave me some story, it sounded somewhat familiar. I may have even learned that story in school. But I wasn't taught this Black History Month mess. Anyway, before I get to all that, guys, man, that's a long intro. I wanted to talk about this federal no-fly list. There's a lot of different things that the liberals want to do that the conservatives might have some agreement with, or the conservatives want to do. What a nice train story, Hake. No. You know, for example, I've argued with you guys about the no-knock warrants, no-knock raids. Some of you guys very against it in all cases. Some of you guys are against it for most cases. And some of you guys are for it, I think. Because, I mean, just think about it. You give them the more out of control you are, or the more out of control you let the blacks get, the more of an excuse for a clampdown on the normal people's freedom that they're giving. And I will get to your calls, guys, but you can't have freedom without morality. That's why whites don't like blacks being immoral and out of control. Oh, let them kill each other. That's not a solution because it's going to affect everybody. Here's another thing that's affecting everybody. A federal no-fly list. This doesn't exist yet, but I was telling you in Hake News at the end of hour 1, Commie Nonsense Network said major U.S. airlines are asking the feds, the federal government, to create a coordinated no-fly list for violent and disruptive passengers. Well, violent is different from disruptive, because sometimes, I don't know, there may be a reason to be disruptive. Say I don't know, because some of these male stewardesses, well, some people call them stewards. Sorry if you're a male flight attendant. And I don't know. I just kind of make fun of them. But it's getting pushed back. This call for disruptive passengers to be on a no-fly list and violent passengers to be on a no-fly list is getting pushed back. And I agree with it, I think, from the GOP lawmakers, Republican senators. They wrote a letter saying that the mandate would seemingly equate unruly passengers with terrorists, quote, who seek to actively take the lives of Americans and perpetrate attacks on the homeland. That's what the senators wrote in a letter to that disgusting Obama-Biden Attorney General Merrick Garland. Oh my gosh. Hearing him talk with his... I sometimes like smoker voices, but not this guy's voice. Ugh. Just makes me shudder thinking about it. Merrick Garland. He sounds worse than Gollum. Gollum being the troll guy from Lord of the Rings old book movie. While airlines may ban an unruly passenger from their own flights, goes on CNN, writes CNN, competition rules mean that information is not shared with the other airlines, other carriers. Ha! So an unruly passenger can go from airline to airline, different carriers, after violent or disruptive incidents. Nearly 500 unruly passenger incidents were reported in the first 6 weeks of 2022. And I am like, racial breakdowns, please. Because, you know, who's more likely to get violent or unruly? Anyway, because they say, I've heard that it's disproportionately blacks who are getting this way. But there are times when others are doing this. Here it is. According to data from the FAA, Federal Aviation Administration, 80 incidents referred to the so-called Justice Department, which are not trustworthy, not a trustworthy department. They're not about actual justice, to consider for criminal prosecution. Honestly, I think this reflects badly on not just the customers, because there are customers who are a mess, but what about the stewardesses and male stewards? Sometimes they're not right. You know what I mean? And also it reflects badly on, I think, the oppressive, control freak China virus rules. Put your mask on right away. Sir, put a mask on between your bites. Between sips. So you just sit there with a French fry in your mouth, pretending like you're eating it the whole flight. That way you don't have to put your mask back up. What a mess, huh? So it reminds me of the bad situation with the cops versus the public, right? You know what I mean? It reminds me of that situation because as society gets out of control, yeah, the stewardesses get out of control too. The stewardesses of today are not like the stewardesses of back then, of back in the good old days. They were like young, pretty, polite, and now you could get anything. And same thing, I suspect, with the cops too. Did you know that the Homeland Security or Border Patrol, it's like headed by Hispanics. And there's decent Hispanics, of course, we all know that. Some of them listen to my show, but not all, I don't know. Sometimes they're getting caught with helping, being coyotes, bringing in drugs, all kinds of stuff. Ugh, terrible. And same thing with the cops. These black cops crying racism against their own police department. You know, what a mess. So, that's just a little heads up. Let me get to a call or two. I have more to talk about these women criminal victims who are complaining about, and I feel like this is such a distraction. They're complaining about their rape kits keeping their DNA. I think that the feds, the government, and even local cops have a temptation to keep your DNA, and companies have a temptation to DNA. They say, to keep your DNA, they say, don't do what is that thing called? 23andMe or Ancestry.com. Don't give your DNA away. A lot of you guys say that. Some say you find out stuff that you don't want to know. And also, they keep your DNA, and then it's more Big Brother stuff, which is what they're going towards with the phones and everything. They track you and record you and all kinds of mess. So anyway, I'll get to that. But anyway, let me get to Tony in California. Tony, how are you doing?
Good morning, Hank. How the heck are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
I'm doing just great.
Okay, cool.
I was calling this morning to see if you've seen the white privilege of the situation that happened in this mall. I believe.
Are you jealous?
It's not. Why do I have to be jealous, sir?
Because you
I mean,
you made you followed in with this white privilege thing. That's a made up thing by jealous people who are jealous of the whites.
It's not made up, bro.
Yeah.
It's not made up.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is.
I mean, that's what y'all wanted to believe.
No, you're jealous of the whites. You're indicating that you're jealous of the whites.
Why don't you explain why it went down like that? Since you say I'm jealous, why don't you explain the situation there to your listeners?
The situation of so-called white privilege? The situation is female-minded liberals want to say that, whites have privilege because their families stay together a little bit more. And so whites whites tend to act right, and blacks don't always know how to act right, or else they have an attitude and they don't have the self-control to act right. And so that's a privilege that whites enjoy. They enjoy the benefit of the doubt more. No, I'm explaining.
Always got to lie and got to steal and rob.
You have to interrupt me.
Don't tell the truth.
You have to interrupt me because you don't like the truth being told.
No, because you just told a lie. But the situation was.
What lie did I tell?
These two boys.
No. What lie did I tell?
White, huh?
What lie did I tell?
That you said that the white folks don't have privileges.
I said, I didn't say whites don't have privileges. I never said that.
What you said?
That's not what I said.
No, you said, okay.
Whites are raised right, so they enjoy the benefit of the doubt because they don't act out so much as the blacks.
Okay. Can I tell the story?
Can you admit I didn't lie?
You did lie.
No, what lie?
White folks act out all the time. They kill people all the time. They rob people all the time. They even rape people.
Right.
Come on, man.
Right, but not as much as blacks.
No, come on, man.
Yeah, it's true.
What country
so I just debunked. You falsely accused me of lying twice.
Black man stole. What country did a black man steal? None.
Yeah, South Africa. South Africa.
Man, who they steal it from? Wasn't no white people there.
The white original natives.
They're like they stole everything else in the world. Okay?
Blacks stole South Africa from the white native South Africans.
Yeah,
with
who
the
was
help,
there first?
with the collusion of the mainstream media and the globalist governments.
Hank, who was there first, Hank?
The whites.
That's a lie.
No, it's not.
That's why I say you can't tell the truth to say your own behind.
No, I watched it on I saw it on the internet. It's a fact. I watched a Lauren Southern documentary. Hold on, Tony. One at a time. One person talks, you talk, then I talk. Okay? You got to calm down.
That's America.
Have some self-control.
Can I tell the story? Why don't you let me tell the story?
I will, but you accuse me of lying about South Africa. I'm going to tell you my source.
Okay, well, that's everybody didn't know that Africa was black from the beginning of time.
No, not true. So,
oh my God.
According to the Lauren Southern documentary called Farmlands, she says that, and she's very knowledgeable. She says that when the whites came to Cape Town...
Wait a minute, hold it. What you just said? What the first four words you just spoke? When the whites came.
Yeah. When the whites arrived...
Well, I guess they arrived there from somewhere else, right?
Shh. Let me finish the story.
Come on, tell the truth now.
I'm telling the truth. When they arrived in Cape Town, there were no blacks to be seen. That means they founded the country of South Africa in Cape Town, and for 100 years or so, they hardly even interacted with blacks. They might have bought some land from blacks. They might have started fighting a little bit, but it was not owned by the blacks. Blacks did not found South Africa. The whites founded South Africa. That is just the truth.
Just like whites founded America, right?
That's right.
The same exact way.
I don't know, because we encountered Indians. We encountered American Indians, and we made deals with them. We settled where they weren't.
And then y'all killed them. Then y'all killed them and raped them and murdered them.
Nope. No, I never did anything of the sort.
Off the map of the country.
Never did anything of the sort, Tony. You're lying.
Oh my God! Why you folks so much in denial of your ancestors' hatred and murderous ways?
Because you don't know the truth about that. You're just repeating communist propaganda.
Come on, man.
Did you watch The Fallen State?
It's written in blood in America.
No, man. You don't know anything about writing in blood.
You think the ancestors of the Africans coming to America, you rape them, you separate them from families, and you murder them.
I did nothing of the sort.
And you pat them on the back like white folks do all the time.
Tony.
Good job, good kill.
Do you watch The Fallen State with Jesse Lee Peterson?
Every now and then, yes.
Okay, well, I encourage you to watch the February 3rd or so episode of The Fallen State with Dr. Mary Graybar. Dr. Mary Graybar. She debunks. She is a beautiful white woman. She debunks. She tells the truth about history, and she debunks this phony 1619 project, this phony Howard Zinn People's History of the United States, which is the nonsense that you're repeating.
1776 debate, right?
It's beautiful truth put out by Dr. Mary Graybar. So I encourage you to listen to the truth and stop watching CNN and MSNBC.
I don't watch CNN, my friend. I don't watch CNN.
Go ahead.
But let me tell the story.
Yeah.
Two boys got to fight, one white, one black. Police came running up there, grabbed put the white boy on the sofa, sit there, have a seat.
Nice.
While we arrest this black guy.
Good.
That we believe that started the fight because he is black and he looks aggressive and he looks scary.
You're right.
And he but 13 years old.
Uh-huh. A lot of 13-year-olds look like they're 21.
Why both of them didn't get locked up?
You'll have to ask the cops. This is the first time hearing that story. You'll have to ask the cops.
No, this ain't the first you're hearing the story.
Yeah,
this is the first one that reported it on your show. You've seen the story.
No, I haven't seen it.
But you always, anything happen with situations like that, you would just avoid talking about it.
No, that's not the truth.
Yes, it is the truth.
No, it's not the truth. Now you've lied 3 times about me so far.
Why are you talking about the
So let's look at
white man? Y'all talk about that.
You haven't given me any details that would indicate that they made the wrong decision.
Any details?
Yeah.
If you get to fighting in the mall, both of y'all supposed to go to jail.
Why?
Why? It's a fight. Both of them got barred out of the mall for 3 years. So why didn't both of them go to jail? Because sometimes. Hold on.
Tony,
the white boys go home.
Tony, the mall is not the law. So if you get banned from the mall, it doesn't mean that you broke the law. The black obviously.
If you go to jail, you broke the law. Okay.
No. Yeah, exactly. So the black broke the law.
So
the white didn't.
Both of them go to jail. Why didn't both of them go to jail? Why the black boy went to jail?
Probably because the black they suspected of committing a crime. The white they did not. That's probably why I have to assume that.
Again, that goes to show you the racism here in America.
That's not racism.
It is racism.
Nuh-uh, because blacks tend to be more violent and aggressive than whites. Everybody knows this.
If two people fighting, both of them go to jail. If you and your wife wait a minute. If you and your wife get to fighting, both of y'all going to jail.
No, not really. That is not true.
We
all know this is not true.
Son, you don't know the law.
Okay, I have a super chat for you, Tony.
Oh, here we go. What European got to say now?
The amazing Tar Bibi is an American, not a European, Tony. And he states, Hake, please ask Big Mama Tony. Is it Tony with an I or Tony with a I-E or T-O-N-I? Is it T-O-N-I, Tony?
What business does it make up here?
If
Mind your business. That's what you need to do. And find you something.
Hold on, I haven't finished the super chat.
Go get a job and live a life. Get off welfare.
Let me read this super chat from the amazing Tar Bibi, 42.
Yes.
Please ask Big Mama Tony if she is wearing a dress. Tony sounds just like an angry, fat, black, radical lesbian.
Well, you tell him or her, whatever it is, I'm not interested, okay? Find him some business and go and get a job and take care of his responsibility and get off welfare and food stamps.
No, he doesn't have to get off welfare. He shares the welfare with the Hake Report by way of super chats.
Well, so he sent you some food stamps to help support your lives.
I gotta go, Tony. It was very nice talking with you. Thanks for the story tip.
Have a good day and stop being hating. Stop hating people that's not your color or your race.
Back at you.
Hey, show some love sometime, bro, and stop hating.
Same to you. All right, you too. Another super chat from Lord Bibby. No, not Lord Bibby. The amazing Tar Bibby 42. Tony, we've been through this. The natives, quote unquote, killed, robbed, raped, and enslaved their own while smoking peyote way before the CWPs came over. CWP is a maize term, Caucasian white people. Although we don't know if they were... all whites, correct me if I'm wrong, guys, but I don't believe that all whites are Caucasians. Caucasians? In fact, I think a lot of Caucasians include the Arabs. Correct me if I'm wrong, guys, because I really don't know. Geography. The whites brought out a civilized culture and were also attacked viciously by the Indian tribes. Thank you, amazing Tar Bibi 42. Maybe I should have read that to Tony. Or Toby. Some people call him Toby. Another super chat from Asmodor over there on Odyssey. Ooga booga, white boys. Ooga booga. Dem policies. Ooga booga. It be racist. Ooga booga. Oh, man. Another super chat for Tony. Asmodor states, ask Tony if it's racist if we refer to him as a black boy. Yeah, because he kept on calling people white boys. So is it racist for us to call him a black boy? Because he's calling grown adult men white boys. Psh. I remember being called white boy by all the bad kids when I went into 7th and 8th grade. Hey, white boy. The Hispanics. And some of the Asians, too. The Asians, there was Filipinos who all wanted to... There was one Filipino who wanted to act all Mexican at that point. And he's like, gringo. He called me gringo, which means... I forget what it means. Foreigner, outsider, white boy. And then later on, he wanted to be Bruce Lee. He wanted to side with his... because he wanted to side with his Chinese side. Because the Filipinos are basically Chinese Mexicans, right? Well, they're Spanish, but they're also Pacific Islander. Because the Spanish came in. Mixing the races leads to confusion, even among the Filipinos. At least that Filipino. Some of them are probably not as messed up. But, terrible, huh? Let me get to Mark in Santa Monica, California. Mark, how are you doing?
Very good, sir. How are you?
Doing fine. Thank you.
Okay. I want to, first of all, and I just want to say this. I always forget to tell you this when I call. The only complaint I have about your show is that you give clowns like the last guy too much time. He says nothing. He offers nothing, just like some of those black Hebrews. They offer nothing, and you'll give them up to 30 minutes of your show. Yeah. And they have nothing to offer except hatred for the white man. But that's that. That's my criticism. Now I want to get to what I called for. In regards to black history, which is a fraud because black history didn't start till slavery started. Before that, they were in the jungles eating each other. Okay,
Whoa.
The history that I want to give you that happened in 1961. It was when the Klan, headed by the Honorable J.B. Stoner, had an arrangement to meet with black Muslims in Atlanta. This is a historical fact. Malcolm X was there. There was a man named James 3X. He was a black Muslim in Atlanta. They met with my former friend who's passed away, the Honorable J.B. Stoner, to have a peace agreement in 61 that the Klan would give the Muslims farmland as long as they didn't participate in the fraudulent civil rights movement. And it was agreed to. They wanted to incorporate the black Muslims and call them, and this is historical fact, any black that knows anything, which are few and far between, but any honest black who may be listening, they know this is true. And they wanted to start what was called the Purple Klan. Oh, and that would have been the black Muslims because they shared views on Jews and they both supported separation. Now, Spike Lee did not mention that in his movie about Malcolm X. Malcolm X was in attendance to that meeting with the Klan. but they leave that out. Any honest black will tell you that it's true. It could be looked up. There was a book, I believe the book was written by a black, and it was the autobiography of Elijah Muhammad. And in that book, it details the place, the dates, the times. There was a caravan of about maybe 50 Klansmen who drove to the black Muslim's house. And JB went in that house, and he told them, he went in by himself. He said, if I'm not out of here in 15 minutes, this whole house is going to burn down with all of us in it.
Wow.
So the Muslims do not to mess with this guy. And they came to an agreement, and the black Muslims would not cooperate with Martin Luther King and his mixing movement. And this is historical fact that you won't hear anywhere except from me, and if you read books and research. Spike Lee, again, when he wrote the story or did the movie, he never talked about it. Just like he didn't talk about Commander Rockwell's meeting with the black Muslims on Savior's Day in '61, where he was allowed to speak and was given a standing ovation. This has all been blocked out and censored by the white-hating black, movement of today. But I just wanted to pass that on because it is Black History Month, and I think your audience needs to hear the truth.
Well, thank you, Mark. Appreciate it.
Thank you, sir.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Take care. It reminds me of this whole so-called white radical and so-called black radicals getting along. I think people just naturally kind of respect each other when they're able to speak frankly. I don't know what's true and what's not. Stoner the church bomber, asks Big Bump. I don't know. A lot of this stuff, this history stuff, it goes over my head. But I did watch that Malcolm X movie by Spike Lee. And I'm not a fan of Spike Lee. Not really. But it was kind of interesting. It was kind of fresh out of high school that I saw it. But I do remember also, speaking of the natural respect for each other, there's also the haters kind of have a natural respect for the haters. And I'm not calling anybody of those historical figures a hater or not, because I have no idea. I wasn't around, and I haven't paid much attention to the stuff that's written down, right? But I remember this guy, Fraser Glenn Cross, who he used to have this website, whitey.com or whitey.org. It's just this cheap website, right? Or very just basic website by this old guy, Fraser Glenn Miller Cross, something like that. He had these different names. And he came on the Jesse Lee Peterson show, and I think he and JLP disagreed on some stuff. And, for sure they did. Like, for example, he's all, I would kill I've told you this story before. I would kill my children if they were to bring home a black, dating interracially. And I don't think JLP is for or against the interracial marriage thing and doesn't see it as a positive thing. But killing them, that's hate. But there was this hater caller who called in, who was a regular caller on the JLP show back then, Mel from Atlanta, Georgia, who called in and had all this respect for Mr. Miller. And Mel hated Jesse and hated white people. But he was all for that separation stuff. Very interesting. I think that call and that interview may be up on Jesse Lee Peterson's YouTube channel. That guy later went on to shoot up, I think he shot some Christians, but he shot up some Jewish centers. But he shot up the Christians outside the Jewish centers, and then I think he's in prison, or maybe he's dead now. Maybe he died in prison. But he was a radical back in the day. Crazy. Taking Care of Business says, I would disown my kids if they intermingled dating-wise, but they are too young to do any of that and would never do it with me raising them. Yeah, but I don't think you would kill them. They know their daddy, is what he said. It was an interesting statement. Before I get back to calls, I got to tell you about these woman criminal, and I call them criminal for a specific reason, criminal-victims, or criminal suspect victims. Victim suspects. So I told you in Hake News at the end of hour 2, I think, maybe, that the San Francisco Police Department is under scrutiny, and the DA is facing a recall. The DA over there is facing a recall, and I think that he's casting the scrutiny on the SFPD to distract from his, recall, the reasons for his recall. And I suspect that he's using it to distract, right? Cops have been keeping victim DNA in the rape kits, so-called victim, right? Because everybody who cries rape isn't actually a victim. We all know this. The feminists claim, it's very low for them to falsely accuse. Very, very low for them to falsely accuse. And where are they getting those numbers? How do you even know whether it's true or false, right? Anyway, they're keeping the so-called victim's DNA, the accuser's DNA, really, meaning the women, from the rape kits. Rape kit, police use a rape kit and test the woman, and try to keep DNA from the woman that may be from the alleged perpetrator or the man who slept with her, and then she turned around and called it rape, whatever. And so apparently they used one of these rape kits from back in 2016, DNA from that, to identify a woman who allegedly committed property crime. And isn't that just like a woman to commit some type of property crime? Like key your car, or deface your car, or break your windows, or whatever. We hear about stuff like this, right? Some have experienced it. Or attacks on your person, too, right? Physical attacks. So this lame DA, who's not named by the skim, but I think, is it Chesa Boudin? Boudin? B-O-U-D-I-N? The son of the Weather Underground terrorists, the communists, not Christians, who tried to bomb something in the United States. In the United States, the left has always been more violent. And around the world, because they're anti-God, anti-Christian, anti-men, anti-white. The DA dropped the charges because this came from a victim's, which we don't even know if she was a real victim. And criminals are oftentimes victims of one another, Like, for example, they say that a lot of the shootings in Chicago are gang-related. So a criminal gets himself killed, right? By way of another criminal. But he's dropped charges because this was from a rape accuser. Even though the evidence for this property crime, and they didn't really elaborate on the property crime, I wonder if I can find it, points to her. Shaking my head. So the far-left female-run outlet, The Skim, is, of course, covering this. Feminist outlet. They write, it's no secret that women have faced hurdles when it comes to speaking out against their abusers. Give me a break. They are propped up. They're given special treatment. They're allowed to stay anonymous sometimes and just out the accused. Meanwhile, the accused could be totally innocent. Case after case, public figure, private figure being railroaded. I heard Mike Tyson was railroaded. Donald Trump talked about it. Mike Tyson, the boxer, who bit the ear of Evander Holyfield, the Christian. But some woman accused him of rape, but I think that she went up into his room. So I don't know, it's crazy. Amid a justice system where convictions, this is the Skim talking, amid a justice system where convictions in sexual assault cases are still rare, because you can't prove it, right? It's hard to prove. And oftentimes, they're lying, let's be honest. Women, and it's not really in many cases, it's not even a matter of the law. They just decide later they felt violated. Or they're so perverted that they will have sex with them one way and then not like the other ways that the people, they want to have the messed up, perverted sex, huh? Which I can sympathize, but you got yourself in that situation. You have to victim blame. You have to victim blame. You know what I mean? Anyway, women could now face repercussions for coming forward in the first place because they have a criminal past. I mean, granted, nobody really wants their DNA out there, right? Would you want your DNA out? Yeah, I understand. Regret isn't rape, says Missy. Yeah. But yeah, I understand you want your privacy. Granted, I don't want the local police or the federal police, much less, or the feds in general, or the state of California, please, having my DNA. Maybe they have it already, I don't know. But I didn't do that 23andMe stuff. Nick says, I read material from COVID tests are being kept for genome sequencing. See? There's all kinds of ulterior motives or extra stuff that people can benefit from these so-called crises. You know what I mean? The Skim is sure to share National Sexual Assault Hotline. 800-656-HOPE. But I wonder if I can find this so-called property crime that this woman was accused of. Let's see. San Francisco DA drops charges against a woman linked to property crime by rape kit DNA. And it's an article in The Hill. ABC affiliate KGO TV reported Chesa Bowden. Sure enough, it's him. San Francisco DA facing, and why is he facing a recall? Because he's allowed the crime to go out of control. And now he's allowing the woman crime to go out of control because he won't use the DNA from the rape kits. Bowden? I don't even know how to pronounce his name. Bowdoin? Revealed his office had learned of police using a sexual assault victim's DNA. Yeah, right. To tie her to an unrelated property crime. They don't even say what the property crime was. So he's kissing up to the women. And that's what you do when you want to save your career. He's being recalled because just like George Gascon, the DA over here in LA County, the Black Lives Matter DA, SJW, right? Evil SJW. Anyway. Women. Pfft, am I right? Let me get to Rich in Victorville, California. Rich, what's up?
Yo, Hake.
Hey.
I want to ask you a question. What's the difference between the critics and the hypocrites?
I don't know.
The same difference between Republicans and Democrats. Right? Because every single day it seems like, Hake, you complain. It's almost like you're a hypocrite because you told the last caller that South Africa got taken. It just sounds like you're being a victim. Everything you hate, you have become.
I'm not South African.
No, but you always.
But have I ever called myself a victim?
You do sound like a victim. The white man, this, that. The people
I'm talking about other whites.
Oh.
I'm talking about other whites. I'm not talking about myself.
No, it definitely seems like you've become what you hate, Hake.
Because that's what you're reading into it.
Hake, I listen. No, I speak and you listen. Hake.
Don't yell at me.
You've become what you hate, Hake, and I'm saying is you should focus on more positive stuff. You know.
No.
Negativity will weigh you down over time, and it's time to just move on.
Is that what happened to you?
How? When you're afraid of me.
I gotta go, Rich.
Exactly, pussy.
Okay, Rich, you're banned. Rich is banned. Pray for Rich. Thank you, Rich. I appreciate it. God, what a mess. How are you supposed to focus on positive stuff? That's boring. Press 3 if you want positive stuff. Press 1 if you like it how it is. Press 2 if you want more negative stuff. 3 if you want positive stuff. 1 if you like it how it is. 2 if you want more negative stuff. More or something. I don't know. But thank you, Rich, but I got to ban you because you're cussing on air. You can't cuss on air. He just accused me of being negative, and then he's called me names. But thank you, Rich. I appreciate it, man. I wish you well. Thank you for the, maybe you meant well. Maybe you meant well. Super chat from Odyssey, odyssee.com/@The Hake Report. Tell that Injun to stop drinking rubbing alcohol and sniffing glue. Injun Joe. Big Bump says more cowbell. I'm seeing ones. I'm seeing 1.3, 1 plus 2. I guess this is the chat, though. The chat is the snake pit. So can I really listen to the chat? I just have to follow my own way. Or as the Lord leads. Or whatever spirit I'm following, right? What a mess. But Big Bump does say more cowbell. I do have some interesting noise or music to share with you coming up here in about 13 minutes. And it's not as long as the last 2 noise pieces from Hollydrift. But first, let me get to another story or two, guys. I have to ban though, Rich. You can't just keep on taking that. I have to reward it. I can't reward it. Innocent man, guilty woman. Trump, Hillary, and Obama. Obama being also a woman. And by the way, no, I don't believe that keeping the DNA from the rape kit is illegal. And it's not against policy either, forensic policy. Anyway, the far-left female-run outlet The Skim, very reliable source on this issue, and NPR, I also got this from NPR, National Public Radio, very reliable source. They talk about the other Trump-Russia probe, and I haven't followed this much. I've seen a little bit of buzz on Twitter over the weekend, over the past recent days. So according to the reports last week, and this is really like third-hand information or worse, last week, Special Counsel John Durham, I remember thinking that I heard that the great Sean Hannity would say, tick-tock, tick-tock, Durham's report is coming, and it's going to take down all the anti-Trumpers. Well, not so much, but John Durham, special counsel, alleged that this one Rodney Joffe, who is a client, a technology company executive who's worked in the White House, you know, these federal contractors, they're hit and miss. Some of them are hits. Some of them are really decent people, federal contractors, but not all of them. Federal employees and federal contractors. Did you know that blacks are disproportionately federal employee or government employees? They disproportionately work for the government. Anyway, a client for Washington, D.C. dirty lawyer. I call him dirty. I'm calling him dirty. Washington, D.C. lawyer Michael Sussman. Sussman. Sussmann. That's Rodney Joffe, client for Michael Sussman, who was part of Hillary Clinton's 2016 campaign. Rodney Joffe, this client of his, organized a conspiracy to spy on the Trump campaign. Snake pit, Hake spit. What's up, Louis Bootsy? I thought I saw Louis Bootsy say that he was... Never mind. I'm not going to repeat it. John Durham, this guy investigating the FBI, shenanigans. FBI, he was appointed to investigate FBI wrongdoing into their probe of the overhyped Russian interference in the 2016 election. Like it was that consequential. I don't think it was consequential, perhaps at all, but they hyped it like it was. Starting with Hillary citing 17 intelligence agencies said that Trump and Russia, blah, blah, blah. I remember she broke out with that in some debate. Trump just was like, I don't know what you're talking about. Sussman, this Michael Sussman guy, this D.C. lawyer, dirty lawyer I call him, and Hillary Clinton's 2016 campaign guy, he's charged now with lying to the FBI. Well, a lot of people are charged with lying to the FBI. The FBI lies to us all the time and lies, and they don't get charged with anything. They get promoted, I think. Anyway, he lied to them allegedly before the 2016 election about his ties to the Hillary Clinton campaign. Sussman claimed to have info suggesting Trump or his associates were using Russian-made smartphones. The horror. And in 2017, in February, this is when Trump had first taken office. So that was before the 2016 election. He did that, I guess, with the FBI. I don't know. And then he contacted the CIA in February 2017 about suspicious internet data related to Trump and Russia. So this Sussman, got it from his client Rodney Joffe, a tech executive who worked with the White House, the Obama White House or the Trump White House, or both. You know, because these government contractors, you can't vet everybody, you know? It's huge. Joffe, this Joffe guy, Joffe, I don't know how to pronounce it, had mined internet data. In other words, spied in Trump Tower and in the executive office of the president and other locations to dig up derogatory material about Trump. Remember, for months, years, Hillary can't accept that she lost because the shenanigans were not enough to put her over the top. They were for Biden. They really severely upped the shenanigans for Biden. Digging up derogatory material about Trump. This Sussman client, Joffe, politically motivated? Was the data gathered on Trump improper? Sussman denied lying to the FBI. He called the allegations misleading, said it's intended to inflame media coverage before his trial later this year. Republicans accused the media of downplaying the story, which, of course, they did. Media is hyping allegations that, oh, this info is being distorted. But that's lame because the media distorts everything about Trump and us, you know? They're like, ooh, Trump, racist. Give me a break. They're liars and deceivers. So that's all I know about this thing, and it's hard to make myself interested in it, you know? People keep on bringing up how all Trump did in the White House was clogging toilets. They said that he tore up papers. You know, he would always tear up papers, right? Whether it was important or not. After he was done with it, tear it up. That was his MO. And they say that he tried to flush down the toilet and it would clog the toilets. I don't know if that's true. Who knows? Anyway, Black History Month. You guys are funny because I keep on getting these calls about Black History Month, and I don't calling about it and celebrating it in the comments, including well-meaning people who love White History Month. I got that call from that Central African with the French accent, I think. Landry, who called into my show, said happy Black History Month. I celebrate White History Month, he says, but he also wants me to celebrate Black History Month. But I explained that Black History Month is about kissing up to blacks, which is the last thing they need. People kissing up to them. They don't even want that. And White History Month is about showing love. White History Month. Showing love for the whites and for everybody. That's what White History Month is about. Two totally different purposes. That's why it's not inconsistent to celebrate white history and not black history. People think that it's inconsistent or hypocritical. Nope. No. Because it's not about the so-called race or the color or mess like that. It's about what's right. And the whites have thrived because they've been about what's right. Where they get away from that, that's where they stray. I have more super chats to read, but here's my Black history contribution. There was a black, I heard, who carried Jesus' cross. It's written about in the Bible. I think he was black. Was it Simon? Was he Ethiopian? Or Cyrene or something like that? So, hey, nice. Right on. But I saw this article in Pocket, and we showed some of these screenshots, because it's so ridiculous, or at least one of these, in this website called parents.com. Pocket shares articles from liberal outlets, and apparently parents.com is a liberal outlet. You know, imagine how much you had to pay to buy parents.com. So parents.com is by a rich, liberal, anti-parents person. And here's the article, headline, Why Black History Month is an Opportunity to Celebrate Black Immigrants Too. They want to include everybody. When it comes to Black History Month, many immigrants find themselves left out of the equation. We want to celebrate both American and Black history together with our own cultural traditions, by Pamela Appiah. And they talk about children and being a child and being a black immigrant and having all those challenges. And there's this, they promote this Dr. Kim Tabari, who's a staff member at some place called USC, and I don't know if that's University of South Carolina or University of Southern California, Equity Research Institute, community activist with BLM Long Beach. Oh, okay, University of Southern California. They promote that woman. She came to the United States from Guyana as a teenager, longtime resident of California. Black History Month is an opportunity to celebrate black people, no matter where you are from. I try to come from an intersectional lens. That's SJW for hate whites, hate Christians, hate men, and hate children and babies. And I already said Christians. You can celebrate American icons like Malcolm X. I am Malcolm X. I am Malcolm X. While including figures like Guyanese political activist and scholar Walter Rodney. And she pushes this on her children, I think. Yeah, a mother of two multiracial children. Oh no, this is somebody else. I think the woman writing this article is the mother of two multiracial children. And she writes, the struggle is real. People say the struggle is real and they're joking, but these black women are actually saying it seriously. This woman, Rose Ivy Quarshie's family, says that education is everything. Her two children have an 11-year gap. So her mother, the grandma, raised the first child, but the grandma died now, and so the younger son was not being raised by the grandmother anymore. And she's a single mother, right? I think. Maybe not. I don't know. But so she sent the younger son off back to Africa, West African culture, to learn West African cultural values. Ghana, an elite boarding school, before they come back here to take advantage of the so-called opportunities here. What a mess. And then he has an African identity. Just exploiting our country, right? Terrible. These women just so lost in a false version of identity. Not good. Speaking of this education thing, I saw this book about anti-racism. You may have seen it at the beginning of the show. This book, if you're watching the video feed, this book cover, I got it off of Real Vincent James's Telegram. I got a few stories out of his feed. Me and White Supremacy by some Layla F. Saad, S-A-A-D. Any relation to Gad Saad? I don't know. I don't think so. but probably not a Christian. Some Layla F. Sad. Me and white supremacy. What a joke. What a mess. And it's funny because Vincent James, you know how the liberal kids, there it is, look at that. On Amazon. Somebody's sharing it. Of course, it's a woman's hands holding the book with a sweater with finger holes. You can see she has a thumb hole anyway. Young Readers Edition for children. Me and white supremacy. How you can fight racism and change the world today. Become an anti-racist change maker, meaning anti-white. Young Readers Edition by the New York Times bestseller. So it's a children's version of this evil book. And you know how the dumb liberal kids were throwing out books about the attack on men and any books that were pro-America or pro-white, pro-Christian, pro-decency. They were throwing them in the dumpster. That was like a TikTok video or something like that, shared on the Jesse Lee Peterson show, like yesterday, I want to say. Well, it's funny because Real Vincent James encourages you, throw these books underneath the bookshelf. In other words, like hide them. But at least he's not talking about damaging them or stealing them and throwing them away. Nice. Anyway, guys, we are past the top of the hour. I am overdue to share with you, I will read your super chats, to share with you some more beautiful non-music noise. I guess you would call it. This is from Hollydrift. The album, like I said, is 2004 Parasomnic Records release called Waiting for the Tiller. Waiting for the Tiller. And the track is track 7 entitled Defense West of Town. So enjoy by Hollydrift. And I'll be back for hour 2. Hang tight.
We are indé, alloué indé. We are indé, alloué indé. We are indé, alloué indé.
Isn't this nice, guys? We are hypnotic, says Tim Scott. Not to be confused with the rhino. This is the real Tim Scott. We are arriving on Mars shortly, captains. The most interesting part of the video was the Oriental rug. Persian Oriental rug. I don't know what the answer to that, if it's actually real, that rug. I wish we were listening to Cat Stevens instead, says Walt Kafka. Hey, Walt Kafka. These dudes are definitely high as heck when recording that noise. What the? No, Matthias Anderson, he's a Christian. He doesn't do drugs. I don't think. Christians don't do drugs, right? It sounds like noise and music, except without the music part. More oil-starved engines? Oh no, hit the mute button. Well, guys, I thank you for bearing with me, you musical Philistines, through this wonderful noise. Noise. I rarely turn my phone down, but I just did, says Kilo Alpha. Well, anyway. Star Wars droids. Hake's crying out. We need to help him. Is this music a cry for help? Noise or whatever you want to call it? Hake. Garbage. Pure garbage. Hake sleeps to that music. At nighttime, it's kind of a cool vibe. For sure. My hearing aid short-circuiting. Put oil in that motor. This isn't fair. I keep trying to answer. Oh, no. Never mind. Well, I kind of love this. This is really unique, says John Doe. Well, unique is an absolute. It can't be really unique. It's either unique or it's not. Hake had to make us suffer. Well, thank you, guys. I appreciate it. Some super chats for you. Spooky, but kind of cool. Hollydrift is interesting, man. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Asmodor states with the super chat on odyssey.com/@thehake report. Never listen to the chat about what you should do on your show. It is always folly to do so. Yeah, I appreciate it. I was just curious what the people thought. Or I just felt I would engage the live chat. But yeah, I wasn't going to listen to them. Hopefully. But thank you, Asmodor. Jib Jab with the super chat on streamlabs.com/thehake report states, I will donate $200 American to you. Oh, man. No, man. If you grow out a mullet, you mean hockey hair? I can't work with you a little bit on the price. Can't or can? Oh, man. Jib jab. I don't want to do that. I don't want an ape drape. I don't want a Sean. Is it a Sean? Sean? I got hockey hair. Yes, I do. Hockey hair, so can you. If you want hockey hair like I do, you can have hockey hair like I do. That's a punk rock song, I guess. The Vandals, not good. Vandals bad. Hitler bad. Vandals bad. Right? I was in a noise band, and this is pretty cool, says Baby Squirrels. Aw, cool, Baby Squirrels. Nice. Right on. Yeah, I appreciate Matthias Anderson Hollydrift's stuff. I like it. Seasal says, I'll give you $200 if you never play Hollydrift again, Hake. Oh, man, all of these things. So much conflict of interest. Do I sell my soul and grow out hockey hair and never play Hollydrift again for $400? It's not worth it. I never asked Hake not to play his terrible vomit-inducing music, says Pawn Poker. And I appreciate that, Pawn Poker. Hitler good, says Duran. Compared to Vandals, yeah. Weren't Vandals responsible? I guess Rome was responsible for the tearing down of the Roman Empire. Amazing Tar Baby 42 states with the super chat, Hake, you got to stop playing these EVP recordings before someone in the chat gets possessed. I'm not calling any names, but Angela Southstab would probably be the one that would need the exorcism. EVP. Do you know what EVP is? Meaning. Employee value proposition? No, that can't be it. But thank you, Amazing Tar Bibi 42. All kinds of reasons never to play Hollydrift again. I think that rug that I showed that's in the lobby, it's a pretty nice rug. I don't know where we got it. I don't know. It seems to be not a cheap one. There are cheap ones in the sanctuary, but I know they were cheap because I was involved in the purchasing. We spent responsibly when we refurbished after the flood. There was a flood, and we had to refurbish, so we spent responsibly. Anyway, guys, I appreciate the super chats and the mess. But let me get to this, more on this education stuff. Before the break, I showed you that evil book promoting the hatred of whites, me and white supremacy, pushed by this woman with light-skinned hand and written by this Layla F. Saad, S-A-A-D. Let me see if I can find a... Oh, this Layla F. Saad is a light-skinned radical. You know the light skins. 39 years old. British social media figure and author. She's black. She got the black hair, but light-skinned. Meaning radical. Radical. There's some light skins who are sensible, I assume. Yeah, there's got to be. I think some call in sometimes to the shows. She started an Instagram trend, hashtag me and white supremacy, and then she developed her work into a digital workbook and then published in 2020 as the book Me and White Supremacy, which entered the New York Times bestseller list, born in 1983, and wrote a kid's version apparently, or they reworked it as a children's version. S-A-A-D, which reminds me of Gad Saad, who is that Jewish guy from like Lebanon. So is she part Lebanese? Is she part Jewish and part black? I don't know. Ridiculous. But more than just that is the attack on the white kids. And it's honestly an attack on the black kids, encouraging them to look outside of themselves and hate others. Ridiculous. And blame others and be stupid. I have this clip 11. I got this from Real Vincent James on Telegram, a guy who's been censored a lot, but he's an honest journalist. And he shared it via teacher_exposed on Twitter. Teacher, T-E-A-C-H-E-R, _exposed on Twitter. 30-second video of this male teacher, purportedly, I guess, from Oakland, California, which is... I'm pointing this way, but it's actually up north, that way. Oakland, California. That's up in the Bay Area, where everybody's not everybody, but they're pro-LGBTIQ. They're pro the communism stuff. The Occupy Oakland was pretty big over there. Antifa, Black Lives Matter, all kinds of evil stuff. That's where Chesapeake is. The area, right? San Francisco, Oakland, pretty close together, right? Or do I have my geography way off? Oakland, a mess. Yeah. So listen to this guy talking about something called the transition closet. And he's not encouraging the people who think, I think I might be transgender. I'm confused. I feel like something else. I feel like a girl and I'm really a boy. Or I feel like a boy and I'm really a girl. And I'm saying boy and girl specifically because this guy teaches kids or children, underage people, right? Minors. But this transition closet isn't keeping it quiet and having some dignity and shame, which is the same thing, basically. No, he's encouraging hiding from the parents, but coming out to the school as what you really are. Listen to this. And he compares it to Superman. Oh, almost want to spit. Listen to this.
The goal of the transition closet is for our students to be able to wear the clothes that their parents approve of, come to school, and then swap out into the clothes that fit who they truly are. And I use the idea that this is like Superman changing in a phone booth. But that idea actually goes a lot further than that, because Superman isn't Clark Kent. Clark Kent is actually the disguise. And when Clark Kent goes into the phone booth, he transforms into Superman, who's really just who he truly is, Kal-El. And so this gives our trans students the opportunity to be the superheroes that we know they are.
Man, he's so female-minded. And when I say female-minded, I mean like not who he's supposed to be. Purportedly, according to Teachers Exposed, he said the goal of the transition closet is for our students to wear the clothes that their parents approve of, come to school, and then change into who they really are, as if he knows or they know. So evil. Undermining the parents and pretending that they're right about it. So sick. Hake, be more positive. From Teacher Exposed. This is also a reply to the Teacher Exposed tweet. And they write, for those who have been following this story, Mr. Martin-Edwards, I guess that's who this guy is. Mr. Martin-Edwards. Martin Edwards. Teaches at Oakland Unified School District, according to Teacher_Exposed, which is a Twitter account. He is a Spanish teacher. And I started chuckling because when he talked about Superman's real identity as Kal-El, this alien from outer space, this fake superhero, it was made up by not Christians, I don't think, and the way he's talking about it is like, oh, you children, you are like superheroes. I heard that that's what they tried to make the X-Men stuff into being. Oh, it's for the freaks. It's for the LGBT. Superman is not morally straight now, so par for the course is great bowls of fire. Yeah. So he's a Spanish teacher. And, oh, I started to tell you why I laughed. I laughed because he reminds me so much of that other not morally straight communist Antifa supporter, who I don't think is a Christian, Vosh. He's been on my show. He was on the Fallen State, and I debated him on the Hippy Dippy roundtable once. He's a mess. Vosh, just matter-of-factly pretending that he's being reasonable. So sick. These are the snakes who are teaching the children up in SF and Oakland and elsewhere, the Bay Area. Totally degenerate. He's teaming up with the Transition Closet. Oh, okay, the Transition Closet. This organization claims that this will be the first school-based transition closet, where you go into the closet and then come out pretending that you're a girl. And they share screenshots. Teacher Exposed shares screenshots and pictures from this teacher and from Transition Closet over here. And I have, let's see. So this is, I guess this is from Facebook or something. Transition Closet. Inside this so-called education world, right? Just a queer teacher. Transition Closet is at Fremont High School. Another liberal, I mean, that's probably an Oakland school district, right? February 5th, Oakland, California. We are extremely excited to begin our journey in working with Fremont High School of Oakland, California, alongside our favorite teacher of TikTok at Just a Queer Teacher. I wonder if that's this guy who we just showed you. The near future holds transition closets and services throughout the school district for students of the trans/non-binary/intersex and additional LGBTQIA plus community members. It's not a community, it's undermining the community. It's undermining families and parents. We are currently in need of clothing donations to help kickstart the first school-based transition closet. And you can see this goofy guy who you just saw on the video in this picture wearing a dress, standing alongside some other female. Ugh. Isn't that so wrong? Ugh. James, be more positive. Look at that. No, don't look at that. Sorry, kids, cover your eyes. Cover your eyes, kids and adults. Terrible. Okay, that's enough. All right. By the way, also from Real Vincent James, he shared an article from his website, Daily Veracity, talking about Republicans way over in Florida who, there may be some Republicans who don't embrace the Florida's, I've talked about this in Hake News, I think, Don't Say Gay bill, which is saying don't be promoting this stuff at all. One of the bill's authors said the line should be ask your mother, which I don't agree with that either, because the mothers are the ones who are the next in line to push this stuff on the children behind the evil teachers, right? And evil social media establishment talking about harm to kids. It should be ask your father, right? Right. But anyway, that notwithstanding, Republicans are pushing this thing called Don't Say Gay bill. Well, it's dubbed that, really. It's called something else. I talked about it last week. I'll have to see if I can dig up what it's really called. But they call it a Don't Say Gay bill. The mainstream media is all against it. Republican lawmakers in Florida are working to pass a bill that bans discussion of sexual orientation, really sexual disorientation, am I right? And gender false identity in public schools from kindergarten through 5th grade. The bill also encourages parents to sue school districts that promote talking about such issues. Nice. Shout out to Florida. I appreciate that they're fighting back in some way, right? We got to start. We got to take those steps. Let me see if I can find that information, because I would like to. Let me see. Don't say gay. Yes, indeed. Hold on. Don't say gay. Okay. Parental Rights in Education Bill. That's what it's really called. I mentioned it in Hake News at the end of hour 2 of last Thursday's show, February 10th. The Skim, the far-left female-run outlet The Skim said Florida's new bill earlier this week, last week, Florida State Senate Committee moved forward with legislation called the Parental Rights in Education Bill. Radicals call it the Don't Say Gay Bill. And now so is the Daily Veracity, which are not radicals. They're just straight up for what's right? Unless you want to call that radical, I guess. Radical means at the root. It would block districts from encouraging classroom discussion about sexual disorientation or gender false identity for kids in elementary school. Also would apply to student services like counseling, thank God. The schools want to just take over everything. They want to vaccinate your children without your consent or knowledge even. Give you abortions and hormones without knowledge or consent. The bill lets parents sue schools if they believe someone is violating the law. Purpose is to reinforce the fundamental right of parents to make decisions. Governor Ron DeSantis, also a Republican of Florida, he supports the bill apparently, saying parents must have a seat at the table in education. Duh. Doesn't approve of injecting those concepts about choosing your gender. You might have heard some of this on the Jesse Lee Peterson show earlier today, I think. It's crazy. The bill's author says teachers should respond with ask your mother. I say, how about the father, not the mother? Radicals call it dangerous, say it will stigmatize and isolate LGBTQ kids. No such thing. The evil Biden administration said it's designed to attack children. See, Biden's getting involved with this mess. designed to attack children who need the most support. Yeah, support them in being wrong. Okay, snakes, wolves in sheep's clothing. Am I right? So sick. Local governments are also fighting critical race theory, and they're banning books. And they should ban these books from... They're buying these books for school libraries. Don't buy such trash. The Skim females claim study after study shows LGBTQ plus youth are at higher risk of mental health issues and even suicide. That's why you don't encourage that. Radical advocates concerned with the legislation could prevent teachers from providing a safe, inclusive classroom. Okay, snakes, right? They want to include evil propaganda and brainwashing to violate the innocence of the children. It's true. It's been making its way through the Florida House and Senate. More yays than nays. Could go into effect as early as July. White History Month, my birthday. Nice. Republican state officials seek to take the far-left anti-white, anti-God, anti-father propaganda and push is out of the classroom, putting education back in parents' hands. Radicals pretend that it's overstepping and silencing teachers and alienating so-called minorities. So sick. Anyway, so that's the background on that. And meanwhile, there's an attack on free, true speech. But anyway, let me get to a call. You can call in 888-775-3773. Rick in Hampton, Virginia is on the line. How are you doing, Rick?
My brother James, what's going on, my brother?
Hey, good to hear from you.
Man, hey, you remember that shooting in Minnesota? I knew it was a little more to it than what CNN was letting you on into, you know what I mean?
Remind me. Shooting in Minnesota.
The student, what was that, Minneapolis? Police SWAT team came in and shot AMIR, the black kid that was...
it was a no-knock raid.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And what was going on?
AMIR Locke was the black young man. He was apparently sleeping on the couch, covered in a blanket, but he had a gun on him, and the cops saw the gun and they shot him. And it all happened very fast. And now people want to use this situation to say, oh, racism, and we should get rid of no-knock raids. And the Minneapolis, not a Christian mayor, suspended no-knock raids at a time when the cops are like kind of at a loss on fighting the black violent crime. Some of my callers suggested no-knock raids should be banned for the most part anyway. But, yeah, interesting. Okay, so what's the update?
Well, the update is they were looking for his cousin. They killed somebody with a rifle. So I think it was drug dealers and it's going around killing people. So the police was looking for them. They had a warrant and everything. They even described how dangerous they was and everything. The warrant had every precaution they could take. So that's why they did the no-knock in the first place.
Yeah.
And then they were looking for something because they already killed someone. And
so the cousin, so you're saying AMIR Locke's cousin was a suspect who allegedly killed somebody with a rifle.
Exactly.
Huh.
And they didn't kill, and Miles, they didn't kill more than one person.
Okay,
so police put in there. Go ahead.
I'm seeing this from CNN, February 10th report. Teenager wanted in connection with the no-knock warrant that led to AMIR Locke's death was his cousin. Indeed, you are correct, man.
Yeah. His cousin may, now, I'm like this, you know what kind of lifestyle your cousin's living. You know if they slanging drugs, you know if they carrying weapons. Anytime you carry a weapon and your job don't pertain to you doing security or you in the military, you have no business with no gun.
Huh.
And they was looking for him, and I'm like this. He was sleeping with the gun in his hand. You got to sleep with a gun in your hand. You look at your lifestyle.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying, James?
Good point. Yeah, you live by the gun, you die by the gun. Okay, so authorities linked Locke's cousin, per this Commie Nonsense Network CNN article, 17-year-old Mekhi, M-E-K-H-I, what a name, Speed, last name Speed, Mekhi Speed, to a homicide in St. Paul, Minnesota through surveillance footage and a distinct car that investigators suspected to have been stolen that was allegedly used as a getaway car in the homicide, per court records made public Tuesday in connection with Mecky Speed's arrest. Wow.
Yeah, I hope they catch his cousin.
Yeah.
Now they can catch him. And this is who he was after all the time. He was staying at his apartment, and he should have known what kind of lifestyle his cousins was living. And like I said, to sleep with your gun. I can see you sleep with your gun on your nightstand, but to sleep with it in your hand?
I don't know if it was. I don't know if he was sleeping with it in his hand, or what, and why he was. But wait, like whose apartment was it? Because
he was his cousin, the suspect.
But the suspect is only 17 years old. How does a 17-year-old have his own apartment? Did Nick, the anchor baby, have his own apartment at like age 15 or 14? He might have.
Now, how they got to the apartment?
Oh, he had a roommate. He had his own roommates. Wow. Dang.
Listen, 20-year-old got it.
But his cousin was not present. Attorneys for the Locke family released a statement Tuesday confirming Speed was Locke's cousin, reading in part, his cousin was not present in Unit 701. Apparently that's where the no-knock raid happened, I guess. We must remain focused on the fact AMIR was an innocent young man of a raid gone terribly wrong. Now the latest statistic and victim of the dangerous and intrusive no-knock warrant techniques that must be banned. And some reasonable people really agree with this aspect of it, but they don't agree with this phony black victimhood thing.
Right. I don't believe it because they was there looking for his cousin, which they had the right address.
Yeah.
He just happened to have been hibernating in his place.
Huh.
So once you turn his gun at the police, what he should have did, came up on the covers, put his hands on, and let the police secure the place. And after they secure the place, then explain to him what was going on. And that's simple as like taking candy from a baby.
Yeah, this 17-year-old has two counts. He faces 2 counts of second-degree murder.
Yeah, they were some vicious kids. So that's why he came in that heavily armed. Anytime a no-knock is to catch you by surprise and secure the place as quick as possible. It's not to come in there and kill you because the police don't want to kill you. We want to take you in alive.
Yeah.
But it's just like you got some high-power criminals that got some highly sophisticated weapons. The faster you move in to catch them off guard, that's the object. Because we want to be able to arrest you without shots being fired. That's the whole thing on no-knock.
Yeah. Yeah, I understand that argument, and I kind of agree with it at least in a lot of cases. Whew.
Well, see, blacks are making it, and the liberal whites are making it seem like that is a bad thing because his cousin, now they're not even looking at his cousin, they killed somebody. They're not even looking at that. They said, wow, they did have the right place.
Yeah.
They're not even looking at that at all.
Yep. Wow.
And, you don't point the gun at the police, man, because the police don't know if you're going to, police only got 3 to 5 seconds to make a split decision. And once you point a firearm at the police, you will catch a lead sandwich.
Yeah, true.
So that's the way it is. You don't point no gun at the police. That's why the best thing. And a lot of people say, "Well, when somebody come at your place, you still in a sleep." I said, "Man, when you wake up, you at full attention because I know I am. If I hear something, I'm alert.
Yeah.
Even if I am asleep." They announce themselves loud and clear.
Right.
So don't give me that he didn't know who they were.
Yeah, I agree, man.
One more thing, James. A guy from Virginia, he called your show yesterday. His name is Art. He's from Virginia. What part of Virginia is he from?
I'll have to ask him next time he calls in, because he's in Ohio now, but he's originally from Virginia.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Art in Ohio.
He got his head on him screwed pretty good. So I was thinking he could probably be from Hampton, so that way
okay.
I can reach out to him, because I'm trying to reach out to a lot of conservative people, man, because it seems like we so outnumbered.
Nice. Yeah. He probably has some family in that area, but yeah, I don't know what part of Virginia it is. But thank you, Rick.
Okay, that's cool. No problem, Jay. But that's the update on that, man. And them police should be cleared.
Cool.
Because he's sitting at some he's taking a nap over some criminal's apartment. And then he was under the cover, and so he pulled a gun. Police trying to protect themselves and the team. So, you know, and then at least the Senator Black Commission should be thankful that they was coming to get people that, and they had killed more than one person.
Right. Yeah, including a 38-year-old man.
And my understanding, I heard it was very brutal how they killed him.
Yeah.
But they know one thing about them lies. As always.
I appreciate it, Rick. Good to hear from you, man.
No problem, James. Good to hear from you. Keep up the good work, James. Love you, brothers, and y'all be blessed.
All right. You as well. Take care. Quick super chat from single mom doing her best. She asks regarding these the messed up "Don't Say Gay" bill, that's not a messed up bill, but the messed up situation that the "Don't Say Gay" bill is trying to fight against. Single mom doing her best states on streamlabs.com/The Hake Report, why are Republicans so gay friendly? I'm glad DeSantis started this conversation so that the mouth breathers can finally get a clear view of how spineless their representatives are. And she's by mouth breathers, she's lovingly referring to as some of these like gullible Christians and gullible but sensible people, somewhat sensible, who are not for this radical gay thing, but they elect Republican over and over and over again. And then some of these Republicans are actually rhinos. They're weak. And they don't support sensible bills like this "Don't Say Gay" bill seems to be. The Parental Rights Protection Act or whatever it is, about the education. Not pushing this radical homosexual agenda, gay agenda on the kids, and transgender agenda on the kids. That's the right direction, but there may be some Republicans who are cowards, spineless. And so, coming out for what's right, it exposes evil, and it exposes the weak, oftentimes. That's what Trump did. He exposed people who, some of us may have thought, he's okay. But no, they're cowards. People just went off the deep end with the Trump derangement syndrome, which is another word for the weak overreacting to the evil. To the good. So sick. Not good at all. Thank you, single mom doing her best. That's true. Taking a stand does clarify things in other people, too. I like it. Let me tell you about this other story. Is it a story? It's an ongoing situation. You know, YouTube is owned by Google, and Google is evil. I saw this tweet from library.com, LBRY. And LBRY are the ones who are responsible for putting out Odyssey, ODYSEE.com, which I do stream on and others stream on or upload our stuff to, including Asmodor, Bond Rebuilding the Man, Jesse Lee Peterson, The Fallen State, White Rabbit Radio, many, many others. Odyssey. But Odyssey seems to be, they have this weird graphic that some of the Odyssey chatters, I don't even want to mention it, they're going to start posting it, of this male-looking person with a pregnant belly. What? So Odyssey seems to be for everybody who's against censorship, including the transgenders or whatever. Because the LGBT people complain that they're censored. They're promoted, but they complain about being censored. I'm sure that they are sometimes censored because it's so vulgar or whatever. There it is. Danny's put it out. Odyssey, ODYSEE.com/@the-Hake Report. But library, LBRY, used to be LBRY.TV, would have our stuff, but now they've moved to Odyssey. But library.com put out a tweet just this morning saying, we won't try banning books from our voting out voting to ban books from library.com. Meaning you can't ban stuff from library because library is purportedly decentralized. So supposedly they themselves can't even really censor stuff. I don't know if that's true. It seems like they do have control over your channel. I don't know. And I don't know. But they tweeted that, and I'm like, oh, nice. Yeah, and then I tweeted out in response the White Rabbit Radio anti-racist Hitler video. It's a cartoon. It's funny. It's poignant. And it's relevant, and it's a great video. And it's been banned by YouTube and banned in many countries just because it's mocking and funny and clever and not anti-white. But anyway, so you can check that tweet. I responded. You could see it under the Hake Reports tweets and replies. But the library.com tweeted, YouTube isn't stopping at censorship. They want to make the things that they disagree with illegal. And that is so true. So this is from reclaimthenet.org. It's a report from them. YouTube CEO, and it came out just like yesterday or something, a couple days ago. YouTube CEO wants governments to pass laws to have more control over online speech. Governments. Commie capitalism. Am I right? They don't want to take the heat. Everybody's posting that in Odyssey. Look at that. Look at this woman. I don't think she's a Christian. She's not a Christian, right? I mean, it's certainly not Christian what she's doing. That's Susan Wajcicki? Wajcicki? W-O-J-C-I-C-K-I. Wajcicki. Wajcicki? The CEO of YouTube. A female CEO of YouTube. And Google's CEO, I think, is that Indian woman. I mean, Indian man, male. This Susan woman has acknowledged the platform's policy of censoring legal content that they deem to be harmful, quote unquote, harmful content. Such a liberal word. Their policy of censoring legal content that they deem to be harmful is controversial, and so they urged governments to step in, take the heat off of YouTube, step in, and you make it illegal. Pass stronger speech laws. And this is supposed to be an American woman, am I right? Anti-American. Wajcicki made the comments in an interview with Hamburg-based independent broadcaster Tide TV Hamburg. I guess that's in Germany, where she was asked about how the platform navigates the minefield of complying with national laws while keeping advertisers happy and users interested. We work around the globe, and you're right. The globe? Oh, you're right. Certainly there are many different laws in many different jurisdictions, and we enforce those laws of the various jurisdictions around speech or what's considered safe or not safe. So evil. How about everybody imitate America rather than America, because this is an American company, imitate the rest of the world. Force free speech on them. That's what I say, especially when it's true speech. Controversy arises, though, when YouTube decides to censor speech that they deem to be harmful but not illegal. Ridiculous. Particularly in relation to the China virus or the election, right? For example. What has been the controversial part is when there is content that would be deemed harmful, but yet is not illegal, which Kiki said. Am I pronouncing it right? As an example of that, she says, for example, redundant. As an example of that, for example, almost as redundant as hate, would be COVID. I'm not aware of there being laws by government saying around COVID in terms of not being able to debate the efficacy of masks or whether the virus came from or the right treatment or proposal. Yet there was a lot of pressure and concern about us distributing misinformation that went against what was a standard and accepted medical knowledge, so-called. And so this category of harmful but legal has been where most of the discussion has been. Despite admitting the way that YouTube censors legal content is controversial, she pushed for stronger speech laws. No, that's why she pushed for it. You know what I mean? Obviously. Because then, don't blame us. It's against the law. Evil woman. You know what I mean? Stronger speech laws that would accommodate this censorship. Our recommendation, if governments want to have more control over online speech, is to pass laws to have that very cleanly and clearly defined so that we can implement it, said this Susan Wajcicki. Latest of several calls Wajcicki has made in support of censoring legal speech that's deemed to be harmful. She's also called for the U.S. government to offer guidance on hate speech. Hate speech, which the U.S. government doesn't even believe in hate speech. Officially, anyway. In other words, they want to make us more like Europe, all messed up. More like UK, where you can get arrested. Like Finland, this woman in Finland. I reported on this, and it was on Fox News just today. I saw this woman who was a former member of parliament or something, or also maybe part of the government. She quoted the Bible about maybe the gays or something like that. And now she's standing trial for quoting the Bible. Finland. I thought that that was a Christian country at one time. And by the way, she had a secret meeting, this woman, with the Irish Prime Minister to discuss content moderation on YouTube. Which Irish Prime Minister? Didn't Ireland have a radical homosexual Prime Minister at one point? Poor Ireland. Outside of her calls for stronger guidance and laws from governments, Wajcicki recently wrote on YouTube's official blog that tackling misinformation and other harmful content is a top priority. Evil. And think about the people who've been banned. Some of the best and most interesting and most effective for Christians, for Americans, for whites, and for men are the ones being banned. And independent thinkers in general. So sick. She's Jewish, says Dan East. Oh. I didn't know. Oh, I knew that she wasn't a Christian. I can tell you that much. And what she's pushing is not Christian at all. So sick. You know who else gets banned or censored for telling the truth? You know who else gets censored? Real journalists, like Project Veritas. I saw this also on Real Vincent James's Telegram, t.me/Real Vincent James, t.me/The Hake Report for Hake stuff, t.me/JLP Talk for Jesse Lee Peterson's Telegram, t.me/TKR Official for Asmodors and others. So, clip 12. This is about a 2-minute clip, guys. Real Vincent James shares this from Project Veritas. FDA, Food and Drug Administration, executive officer on hidden camera reveals the future of the China virus policy. You'll have to get an annual shot. Remember the media was pushing, get your flu shot. Well, now they have like the force of the government and commie capitalists and dumb liberal female-minded people who want to control you, forcing the China virus shot, which is even less studied than the flu shots. And they want to vax the kids, toddlers even. And how is it an emergency? Well, let this guy explain. It's not, in short. Listen to this.
Biden wants to inoculate as many people as possible. So you have to get an annual shot. I mean, it hasn't been formally announced yet. So you don't want to rile everyone up. The drug companies, the food companies, the vaccine companies, they pay us hundreds of millions of dollars a year to hire and keep the reviewers to approve their products. If they can get every person required at an annual vaccine, that is a recurring return of money going into their company.
Dang.
So how do you know it's already getting approved?
Well, they're not going to I mean, just from everything I've heard, they're not going to not approve it.
Yeah,
Meet
duh.
Christopher Cole, an executive officer at the FDA with over 20 years' experience who claims to be directly involved in the approval process of the various COVID vaccines.
I think what's going to happen is it's going to be a gradual thing. School's going to mandate it.
Why do they need the third one?
For the same reason that you or I would need the third one. So the 3 will bolster your system. And then there will be an annual, eventually an annual, just like the flu shot.
For the toddlers?
Well, for everyone.
Okay, so the toddlers too
Ridiculous.
then. We'll have to get it
Probably.
annually. Okay.
I don't completely agree with the process.
What do you mean you don't agree with the process?
Well, I mean, they don't have all the tests aren't there. So I agree with the thing that it is important to inoculate them.
Toddlers?
But you can't provide the parent as much a surety as you normally want to. It's an EUA for all age groups, all designations, and then you have to get approved by specific age groups based on the study.
Do you think it's really an emergency for the toddlers?
Well, they're all approved under an emergency. The efficacy data doesn't have to be as high. The standard is on emergency use authorizations is that it does more benefit than harm.
I thought their cases weren't that high for 6-month to 4-year-olds.
They're not, but because it's related to COVID, it's under that approval process.
Emergency approval just because it's a China virus. Overhyped. That was from Project Veritas. That was Christopher Cole, FDA exec, purportedly, of Countermeasures Initiative. He said that Biden wants to vax as many as possible. Oh. And he doesn't care. Not formally announced because this idea of having an annual shot, forcing people to do an annual quote-unquote vaccination, has not been formally announced so as not to rile people. Oh, Wajcicki is Polish? Whatever. What a mess. Recurring return of money for the annual vax for these big pharmaceutical companies, right? Questionable efficacy, questionable need, questionable emergency. For kids? Even for adults, I don't see how it's an emergency. I hear that it's a crazy disease, but I don't know. I'm hearing, this thing has not been studied long term, and I don't know. I'm hearing stuff that is indicating that there are concerns. There are concerns. Schools mandating it. Even in California, there's this Pan guy, Richard Pan, I think is his name, Asian Democrat, so-called doctor. Even before this China virus came out, he wanted to force vaccinate the kids on various different so-called vaccines. And the vaccines, these so-called vaccines have proliferated. It wasn't just like 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 that some of us older people have gotten. Now it's like in the 20s. It's crazy, man. Ridiculous. And I remember I was always quite leery about the flu shots. I would never get the flu shot. I know some people who did get it, but you hear horror stories every now and then. A vaccine-injured person. And you don't know what the real truth is. Why not just be healthy? You can always kind of tell, can't you? Anytime that you've gotten sick, be honest, guys. Anytime I've gotten sick, I've known that I wasn't living right. I was not sleeping enough. I was not eating right. I was not exercising enough in general. I knew that I was not getting enough sunshine, but especially the sleep and also the eating and also the exercise and also the sunshine and stretching and all that stuff, especially like the beta back. You know that your afflictions are so often your own fault, and you know how to take care of yourself. So sick. But no, they want to push this thing and be unhealthy. Be unhealthy, just get vaccinated. That's fine. Oh, gosh. Oh, do I want to cover this? Oh, yeah, let me talk about Trudeau. You know, this guy up in Canada, and these people up in Canada, the beautiful truckers, shout out to the beautiful truckers. Can men be beautiful? It's beautiful that they're fighting for what's right. They do seem to be fighting for what's right. Protesting the vax mandates, speaking of these vax mandates. And they're getting support from the people. And it was reported that some people donated to this Give, Send, Go thing, right? I think. Yeah. And Give, Send, Go had a data leak, and I think it was hacked by this weird guy, this evil person. But there was this woman who's an owner of this Stella Luna, which is a gelato cafe. They make ice cream and different things. Gelato, I don't know what that stuff is, but it's kind of like ice cream-esque. And it's a woman. Looks like a boomer or a Gen X. Nice, getting older lady, right? Middle age, or getting there. And Allison Ma is a blue check on Twitter, sharing an article about her. Because the Ottawa Citizen reports threats. Close Stella Luna Gelato Cafe after the owner's name appeared in a Give, Send, Go data leak. And Allison Ma is purportedly a reporter, I guess. The owner of Stella Luna says she regrets making her $250 donation to the truck convoy, the Freedom Convoy, saying she thought it was a peaceful grassroots movement. See, now the media is like smearing these people, and they are a mostly peaceful grassroots movement. But sometimes you got to be a little rough. And men know when to be a little rough. But I don't know. She made the donation February 5th when police were calling the protest volatile and dangerous. But very interestingly, or somewhat interestingly, Ilhan Omar quote tweeted this story. Ilhan Omar, the refugee Muslim woman, SJW, evil feminist person who hates men and whites and Christians, hates America, but is exploiting America. She tweeted this: I fail to see why any journalist felt the need to report on a shop owner making such an insignificant donation. And then she made this grammatical error, rather than to get them harassed. I think she meant and get them harassed. It's unconscionable and journalists need to do better, she says. Isn't that interesting? Ilhan Omar sticking up for the little woman. Interesting that it's a woman shop owner. A whole lot of people have been getting threats and harassment and all kinds of mess attacking them. And a lot of people don't pay attention to every little thing the cops say or what the media says, and these truckers are upstanding. So phony. Trudeau saying, oh, the Conservatives are standing with people who wave swastikas at this trucker convoy. All I saw, Canadian flags, American flags, and supporting of freedom. And who cares if there were a swastika or two? Stupid. Anyway, guys, this has been the Hake Report. Hope you enjoyed it. We do have, hopefully, a God's Learning Channel throwback on Jesse Lee Peterson's YouTube channel, 4 p.m. today, hopefully. Typically on Thursdays, and Women's Forum tonight, 7 p.m. at Bond. Ladies only. Rebuildingtheman.com/events. Hope I'll see you tomorrow. Thanks, guys, and take care.